Hello and welcome. I am Tara. I garden here in Zone 5 in central Iowa. Today I have a treat for you. First thing, we are going to sow some perennial salvia together. But then even more exciting, I have some video footage of my pollinator strip from last year in high season. When it was warm, the plants were large, and it was just amazing for me to look back and see how much that space filled in just a year's time. There are a few gaps, and that's where these plants come in. I want to add salvia, and I want to add some blazing star out in that area. So we're going to do that today, and then we're going to time hop backwards to warmer weather and take a quick peek at where these seedlings will go when it warms up. So let's talk a bit about what we're planting today, and then we're just going to jump right into it. Now, both of these I got from Baker Creek. They are online, great company, free shipping. So check them out. They are both perennials. Now, I have grown the Oxford Blue annual salvia before. It germinated very well for me. I'm hoping that it's going to self-sow out in my garden a bit, but that remains to be seen. So I decided I want some perennial salvia to save myself some seed starting year over year. So the first is the White Swan Lake, and I'm going to read on the back just a few highlights in case you're interested. It's a perennial in zones 4 through 8. Let's see, they reach about 20 to 27 inches tall. Hummingbirds, butterflies, and other beneficials love them, which is going to be perfect for the pollinator patch. Let's see, so it says sow seeds 1/16 inch below the soil. Keep moist. It's saying start indoors 6 weeks before our last frost. So right now, I think I'm about at 8 or 9 weeks before. So we're a little bit ahead of our seed packet. But I'm doing that intentionally because you'll see the cells that I'm starting them in are 72 cell size. But I do plan to pop them up into larger, probably single pots when they need it, in hopes of planting out a little bit larger start when our frost has passed. So I'm starting these a little bit early. If you are interested in these and you are in a similar growing zone, definitely not too late. You could even still winter sow these if you wanted. So get your salvia seeds, and you probably have even the next month if you're going to sow the seeds like I am here to really get them started. So the second variety is Rose Rhapsody. It's a beautiful, let's see, how do they describe it? So it's a perennial to zones 3 through 9. They call it a blush pink. Let's see, early summer bloom. Did this one say early? This didn't. It'd be cool if they varied their bloom time a little bit. This one isn't quite as tall, 18 to 24 inches tall and wide. Let's see, same seed sowing directions, 1/16. So that's barely anything below the soil. We'll talk a little bit more about this as we're sowing, but I'm just planning to surface sow the seeds, and then when I water them in lightly, that water is going to do the hard work and give them good contact with the soil, and it's going to get them about to that 1/16 inch. So we are sowing these out in my shop. It's 50 degrees out here. My nose is barely runny. I can handle 50 degrees, but I will be taking these in to my house where I have a slightly warmer grow room. So they are going to germinate and grow on at about 70 degrees. And then at some point, I will either start hardening them off outside, or if they get too big, they'll come out here in the shop. By then, it's going to be 60 to 65 out here, and they'll finish growing on before they are ready to plant in the pollinator strip. I think that's all there is. Let's get started. Just a quick note about my seed starting mix here. This is what I DIY'd a few videos back, so if you're interested in trying that for yourself, it does have some nutrients, in it, and then also some vermiculite to help with drainage. Now I've added just a bit of water, so it's kind of clumpy, but there isn't anything dripping out of it. Time to get our soil added to our cells, and we will get sowing our seeds. I had to move the angle of the camera a little bit because I was shaking it as I was putting my soil in. But I went through, I tried to pick out most of the larger clumps, if I had any little sticks or anything, and then I'm just kind of firming down the soil because again, we are going to surface sow the salvia seeds. So I want these cells to be full of soil and not have a lot of settling as they get watered. Now this is moist. This is a moist mix, but I will use a sprayer and spray it lightly just to settle that seed. All right, we are ready. Now this is a 40 count cell tray. These are the size of like a 72 cell size if you bought like a standard 10-20 tray. I don't think I need that many salvia. Really 40 is probably more than I need. But this is what we're going to go with here. All right, so let's see how tiny these seeds are. Not super tiny, but they are dark, so I won't be able to see them once I kind of put them. And I think I'm just going to try and pick up 1 or 2 at a time, so I'm not accidentally dropping a bunch in the cell. I need to pay attention while I'm doing this, otherwise I forget what rows I have done. Let's see. All right, we've got 2 rows done. Now, if all of these germinate, I would also put some salvia over in our secret garden area. If you've been around for a while, you know that we had kind of a delay in making a lot of progress on that last year. But I would like to fill it in with some salvia. All right, so I have half of this tray, or 16 cells. I'm going to go back through and just for a little bit of insurance, put a second seed in a few of these. And if we have some cells not germinate, then I can move those seeds around. So the rose is on that side. I'll need to make a tag here. We're going to put the white on the empty 16. So I'd love to know in the comments if you've grown salvia and what your favorite varieties are. Bonus points if it is hardy to zone 5 because I'm really into perennials and I would love to grow another variety or 2. So let me know what you have in your landscape and gardens below. Seems like I got a few more seeds of the white, so we are going to spread those out and we'll see how we do for germination. Okay, so I have this tray ready to go. I'm going to be careful since I haven't settled the seed yet, but I have a hand mister, so I will go inside, lightly spray this. I will put a humidity dome on top, which looks like this. And then these will go under lights until I see germination. And then at that point, I will take this plastic lid off. Now the grow lights I use, I call them grow lights. They're just shop lights. I know that we've gotten some from Amazon and we've bought some from like Lowe's and Menards. So we're not using any sort of specialty lights. But that is about all there is to it. I will be sure to bring you along and give you updates on these. If you missed my February Under the Lights, I just posted that video and I just walked through the space behind me as well as my growing room inside and showed you what is on my grow shelves right now. So this will hopefully have great germination and I can show you these next month. Other than that, let's take a few moments, jump into the video that I shot last summer of the pollinator patch. We can dream of warmer days and pick out some spots where this salvia will look great. Until next time, everyone, thanks for hanging out. So to my left, you will see a variety of plants, and I'll take you off the tripod so we can get a close look at a lot of these. But I started all of these plants, the majority of them from seed, last May. So we are just 14, 15 months into this project. Everything is filling out, looking great. And I'm just so impressed with how it looks. So let me take you off the tripod and we'll get a closer look. So this strip is approximately 75 foot long and probably 12 to 15 wide. You can see I kind of made a bump out in the center. It's not real defined farther down, but I was trying to give some dimension to the space. On this north end, we really have the swamp milkweed filling in to the point that I came through and pulled some of it. Super great aggressive root system, but you do kind of have to keep it in check if you want it in a certain area. Beautiful little pink blooms there, looking really good, and it's amazing. This is just year 2. Now you'll see black-eyed Susan, mounds of that sprinkled throughout. I took and divided a large plant I had up by my house. It's amazing how much these grow. When you're considering putting in plants, if you pick native plants, they're just gonna generally do better than things you have to kind of fight the environment with. Some more common milkweed there. I did add in a few nasturtium. There is some anise hyssop there. The blooms have seen better days. I could definitely come through with my shrub trimmer and just sort of trim those off. I use these cow panels as kind of a divider between the pollinator strip and our personal vegetable garden. You can see an agastache here that had pink blooms. I went ahead and shaved those off with a hedge trimmer the other day. I have some cucumber vines growing here, some Russian sage, of course another clump of the black-eyed Susan, some lavender that already bloomed out that I cut back. So I would say overall this side, and then I kind of made a walkway for myself so I can get through to the back here. This is definitely the most filled in and looks the most mature of the area. Now I put purple hyacinth bean vine, you can see on another panel to kind of help camouflage this space. Put in a couple of logs for interest. Now you can see a milkweed self-sowed over here. I'm going to let that go, but definitely keep this area in check. We have some borage, and I just came through and dropped seeds of that this spring. I did come through, I had some powwow white and some wild berry coneflowers, and I put, you can see a couple of them, I think there's a trio here. I came through and added a lot of these within this space. So I'm trying to get the color, the variation in color a little bit more here. So we'll have those white and pinky purple coneflowers next year. I do have some regular coneflowers out here as well. This was a bee balm that was beautiful, but I cut it back hard. It was really looking ragged. Same for this one back here. But you can see that purple hyacinth bean provides a great cover, and I may extend it next year too down a little farther. Some more agastache, bee balm, coneflower, just some annuals that I popped in. Those are more nasturtiums. Mountain mint, now a lot of this is in year 2, but I did plant more this year. I put a lot of yarrow in last fall. Now it's starting to brown, but it was beautiful earlier this summer. More borage that took a hit from the storms we had the other day. Again, some milkweed that self-sowed way down here. And then I just have a large patch here of mountain mint. I haven't cut off of this yet, but I will use this probably not till next year as a cut flower. I may actually thin this out a little bit and move some into my rows so I can keep some back here undisturbed for the pollinators. You can see this is our burn pile from the storm, so I'll try and not get too much of that in camera here. Lots of yarrow in the back, and again, this could definitely, I could bring my hedge trimmer through here too. Some borage, and then again through here I put in more of those coneflower plugs, and this is where you see I really need to get in and get weeding here before this gets too bad. So that is pretty much the area in its entirety. Now I don't have a lot of spike flowers out here. I realized this year I have a lot of mounding flowers. So I'd like to add in some blazing star or purple liatris. I believe that's something that I can start from seed. I will probably wait and do that in the spring since I don't have the seed purchased yet. But that's something I'd like to add in here. Those are dark, tall purple spikes, and I can really see that adding some beauty out here. And then I don't have any perennial salvia, but I know that the pollinators love salvia, and that's something else I'd like to add in if I can acquire some seeds. So I'm trying to keep this area very, very cost effective, starting everything from seed or divisions. So I think that's the way I'll continue to go. That wraps things up here. Just a couple thoughts. If you don't have the space to put an entire strip or patch in, just add a couple of these plants. Yarrow, the coneflower family, black-eyed Susan, bee balm, the hyssop family, all these are really great for our pollinator friends. And most of them look lovely in any sort of space or garden. So I just want to provide that encouragement to you that you don't need to have a large dedicated space. Just add a couple of these plants in your garden or wherever you're able to. Found a little pollinator friend this morning.